Reed Hastings of Netflix, Steve Jobs of Apple, Reid Hoffman, who was the founder of LinkedIn, Howard Schultz, who founded Starbucks and went back in for his second tenure as CEO, they share one important lesson which I think is relevant for all of us. And here's the lesson. They wished in the earlier stages in their career they'd invested more time when their businesses were at infancy stage in shaping and defining the culture, because they believed they would have been far more successful and got to where they wanted to be far quicker if they'd invested that time front end. Culture isn't a thing, it is everything. One of the top 3 things that all delegates take away from the Leading Growth Program without fail is the importance of really shaping, defining, and working on their culture in their business. And think about it for a moment. When you think about setting your tone and cadence and rhythm in your business, when you think about managing performance, it's easy when you've got the numbers to talk around because numbers are very tangible, they're real. The hardest bit is attracting, retaining, and developing the right talent if you haven't clearly defined what the culture is, what the personality is, what the spirit, what the DNA of your business is and what you want it to be. And this starts with the founder, but it's got to be beyond the founder or the owners of the business. It's got to be baked into the DNA of the entire organization. So here's my challenge for you. 3 key things. Number 1, what is culture? And this is the starting point of really thinking about culture, personalized, tailored for your business. What is the aligned definition that if you talked about culture in your business, everybody would say, this is what culture is in our business. And I'm a passionate believer in simplicity. Simplicity is genius. So for me, culture is simply this, how we do things around here. It's about how we think, it's about how we feel, and most importantly, it's about how we behave. So the first principle is defining what culture means and having a common definition for your organization. The second thing about culture is who we are and also it's who we aspire to. We're all work in progress. So it's about recognizing that where we are today might not be where we want to be, but don't let people use it as a deflection technique, say, that's not how we do things today, because it's about where we are today, but also it's about where we are trying to get to. And then the third thing that I think is really important is about defining particularly your values and your behaviors for the organization. I think one of the key skills for leaders, for all people in the organization, is when you make the behaviors, the expectations, when you bring to life and make those more tangible. One of the critical parts of your culture is to really shape and define the values and what your organization stands for. So, for example, at Pathways, we talk about our pact. And a pact, by definition, is your soft contract. And we talk about 4 things: be passionate, be authentic, be commercial, and be trusted. However, here's the challenge. If you went across our colleagues and you asked them the question about what does be passionate mean, I guarantee one thing. If you had 10 colleagues, they will all have a different definition or a slight different take on what be passionate means. So what's really important is the co-creation, where you involve your team in the creation of what we call your enabling and your derailing behaviors that underpin each of the values. The enabling behaviors, the 6 behaviors that really call out what being passionate looks like in action. And of course, not only calling out what good looks like, but also calling out what it doesn't look like, i.e. under the header of your derailing behaviors. And both are important in equal measure, because what then allows your people to do is to self-regulate. And in my experience, values can't be passive, they've got to be active, they've got to be living in your organization, what we call values in action. And your enabling and derailing behaviors, co-created with your colleagues, where they've inputted into the creation of those, is then a great way of being able to have meaningful conversations where people, A, will self-regulate, where peer colleagues will hold them to account, but also as leaders and managers, it makes it easier to have performance conversations because you've got a clearly defined set of behavioral principles which you can talk around. So that is such a key part of your culture. So culture isn't a thing, it is everything. Here's 3 actions. If I was to ask you the question on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being low, 10 being you've got it nailed, where are you on your journey in really shaping, defining, and making sure your culture is living in your organization? So that's the first question. And if your score is low, make this a top priority because it will help you in attracting the right talent. It will help you in recruiting the right people, and it will help you in retaining your people as well. Then the second thing is, have you got clearly defined values with underpinned, enabling and derailing behaviors? And I think values should come from the organization. They should come from leaders. But the co-creation of the enabling and derailing behaviors is really important so that people feel like they're creators of their own destiny. And the third key action is simply this. Imagine off the back of watching this video that you're watching right now, you went to all your colleagues in your business and you asked them one question. How proud are they to work for your business, for your organization? And one of two things are going to come back. They're either going to say, I'm really proud, in which case the question is this, why? And in the answer to that question, you will unlock, and raise your conscious awareness about what they really value in your culture so that you can replicate and make sure that they are baked into your DNA. Or the answer might be, no, I'm not proud. In which case, the question again is, why not? What would make you proud? And in their answer, again, would be the key things that you need to focus on in order to make sure you're not creating flight risk with key people, and also that you are enhancing your culture and creating a culture that everybody in your business can be proud of.